The FBI raided John Bolton's home, and the universe is getting healed thanks to Trump.
Well, I'm reminded of something that I heard someone say after the Mar-a-Lago raid, and the statement was everybody ought to just calm down, whether you're pro-Trump or anti-Trump, and let the process work its way through. That was said by John Bolton himself after the Mar-a-Lago raid on Trump. Look, I try not to engage too much in conjecture on these things. All we really know is what Caitlin just told us, that this is related to an investigation regarding information he put in his book. We know that they're searching for things, and that's it. That's what we know. And so Ambassador Bolton's previous views on this were that processes should be allowed to work their way through. I assume this one will work its way through. And if he has not disclosed any classified information, that will be fine and good, and we'll talk about that. And if he has, I'm sure we'll talk about it as well.
Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Part of why I'm happy today is that John Bolton was a duplicitous, terrible anti-Trump backstabber.
He doesn't talk. He's like a very quiet person, except on television. If he could say something bad about Trump, he'll always do that. But he really doesn't talk. He's quiet. And I'd walk into a room with him with a foreign country, and the foreign country would give me everything because they said, oh no, they're going to get blown up because John Bolton's there. He's not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid.
Do you expect the DOJ to brief you on this?
Yeah, they'll brief me, probably today sometime.
And the foreign minister.
I tell Pam and I tell the group, I don't want to know, but just you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer, but I feel that it's better this way.
This is kind of the difference between there's Republicans and there's rhinos. The rhinos hate Trump so much that they'll break the law, do all the Democrats' dirty work to get him. That's what Trump is flushing out right now, I believe, with this John Bolton story. Welcome, guys. Hope you'll subscribe. Let's get to the news. Here's the whole John Bolton gig as it develops this morning. So we're going to start here with, this is Vince Cogliani's breaking from a source familiar with this morning's raid on John Bolton's home. Quote, this is related to a national security investigation of Mr. Bolton that was shut down by the Biden administration. Now, this is key. They wanted to hide it. This is stuff that, by the way, this whole thing was uncovered by Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, are the ones that launched the raid on his home. It was shut down by the Biden administration for political reasons. It involves stealing classified documents. This is ironic because John Bolton was strangely judgmental of Trump about claiming that he stole documents and weaponizing them for political purposes. This could have to do with some documents that John Bolton, I believe, could have smuggled out. I don't know if it would be out of the National Archives or what, but remember, he wrote a tell-all book where he tore Trump apart. It could be that he used it for research. It could be that he did side deals with Iran. Again, I'm just speculating. Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have reopened the investigation, hence this morning's raid. Source says Bolton wasn't detained, but he's fully expected to be charged. And of course, they'll find him guilty.
It is intriguing here because these are long-standing allegations that the book indicated or referenced classified material that he may have acquired when he was in the administration. We're not clear as to what that is, but it would suggest that it could be national defense information. The reason that's important is that creates a heightened potential penalty. So you can have penalties that range from 5 to 20 years. 20 years tends to be the sentences for concealing information, obstructing justice. Simply having classified information can weigh in at about 10 years. And there are often multiple counts because each of those documents can be charged separately. So there is a strange history here. So you had these allegations coming out as early as the first Trump administration. Then there was an allegation that the Biden administration essentially scuttled a further look at this case. Right. And now we have this new development. But we really don't know if there's something that has occurred most recently, whether they uncovered something that they believed a sort of evergreen, that this is still a viable criminal case.
Patel's FBI raids John Bolton's home in high-profile national security probe. Wait, there's more. This is Dan Bongino on Twitter. I found this very interesting. So first, here's Kash Patel from 2 hours ago. It says, Kash Patel on Twitter, he says, no one is above the law. FBI agents on mission.
Well, I appreciate Kash Patel's tweet that no one's above the law. I've always suspected that the deep state was involved in things that, one day, hopefully they would be discovered and held accountable. I don't know what John Bolton did. Obviously, he deserves due process. But I do believe that Kash Patel and Pam Bondi and John Radcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard are serious about holding the deep state accountable.
That was during Bolton getting whacked. Here's Dan Bongino responding to Kash Patel. He says, public corruption will not be tolerated. So that's a clue to what they're doing with Bolton. It looks like they're claiming, if I'm reading Dan Bongino right, that it's public corruption in some way. Public corruption will not be tolerated. Wait, here's more. Here's Pam Bondi. Many people have lied about her. And of course, I've only told you the truth about what an incredibly good person she is. You guys are, of course, allowed to disagree in the chat. You can't help it that you get your news from really unreliable sources. So I hope you'll stick around here. Here's attorney Pam Bondi. America's safety isn't negotiable. Justice will be pursued always. So that's Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi. America's safety isn't negotiable. So it sounds like Bolton, if I put all those claims together, that America's safety was being negotiated.
That CIA director, John Ratcliffe, provided Kash Patel access to U.S. intelligence that served as the basis for the warrant to raid Bolton's house. So they're saying Bolton disingenuously attacked Trump for mishandling classified information. It will go down as one of the most audacious and ironic acts of malice in political history. Bolton should have been throwing stones in his now raided glass house.
I think this could be Iran. That's my suspicion, because John Bolton did a lot of work with Iran. Here's the storm arrived. President Trump just now to Pam Bondi in front of everyone. You know, because some of you are going right now, you're in the chat right now, and you think you're MAGA, and you're going, Pam Bondi, Doug, you need to understand what she did and what she said. Here, I'll let Trump knows her. Will you agree with me at least that Trump knows Pam Bondi better than me and better than you? Here's Trump.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Pam, thank you very much. What a job. People don't realize, they're going to see she'll go down as the greatest Attorney General we've had. I really mean it too. And where's my Christie? You there?
He really means it. She's the greatest Attorney General we ever had. So again, any naysayers about Pam Bondi, just start your entire comment below with Pam Bondi, who sources more reliable than me and you say is the best Attorney General we've ever had. There. That's all I know is Trump knows her better. Hold on, here's a great meme right here. Look at the shape of this cloud. DC weather forecast, cloudy with a chance of raid. I love that. And then it wasn't just his home, according to, here's a Benny Johnson clip. It was his workplace too.
And ambassador. So this is a live shot of his office in Washington, D.C. And we're looking right now, per our colleagues from Fox Digital on the scene, a couple of FBI agents loading some stuff into cars and leaving the scene. So clearly not as big of a presence at his Bethesda home, but notable that he was spotted at his office earlier today. We're told, I want to be very clear, that he's not facing any charges at this
Yes, he is.
moment. He is not in custody.
He should be.
He is not under arrest.
He will be.
At this moment. So we've reached out to his attorney. We're reaching out to Ambassador Bolton himself.
Okay, so at work, they raided his office there too. After he went to work, they raided his office. Here's the very first clip this morning that dropped where Fox announced the news. We got to go back and do this backfill on the initial raid on John Bolton's home.
that he is not in custody and he's not under arrest. The FBI not commenting, the Justice Department not commenting, but two senior government sources say that FBI agents are looking specifically for classified documents that may have been classified. Now, this is a live look at the street where this is all going down just outside Washington, D.C. in Maryland. It's unclear how long this raid will take place, but FBI Director Kash Patel put out a cryptic post on social media this morning, and Attorney General Pam Bondi followed up with it. He says no one is above the law, FBI agents on a mission. Then she followed up talking about accountability. America's safety isn't negotiable. Justice will be pursued always. So it's not clear exactly how many documents they may be looking for, but we are told Bolton is not in custody. What's unclear, though, if he's being cooperative or not. We know, I said this about 20 minutes ago when I was on the air, his security clearances and his security detail that he had, a government subsidized, security detail, was stripped by President Trump. He said that it was unnecessary. Bolton says that he is at risk from the Iran regime of potential assassination attempts or other sorts of plots. We've not yet heard from Ambassador Bolton, who served as President Trump's national security advisor in the first administration, but he's out there. He's been on TV recently. He just did an interview on another network a couple of days ago. A couple of weeks ago, he said on another network that he believes that the Justice Department is out for retribution and vengeance, and he believes that he will be a target. 2 weeks later, we see the FBI now gathering at his home in Bethesda, Maryland.
So John Bolton knew they were coming for him. He said, they're coming for me. He knew he was guilty of something. He's like, yeah, they're probably going to, Trump administration probably going to get me. Why do you think?
But I want to point out that, this is very early in the process. We know that a magistrate judge would have had to sign off on this. The FBI doesn't just unilaterally decide to go into someone's home. Then this evidence, after it's analyzed, will be taken to a grand jury, and a grand jury will decide if there is enough evidence for federal charges, guys.
David, have we seen them come out with anything? We keep seeing FBI agents going in. They've been there since 7, so an hour and 3 minutes. Have they retrieved anything?
I have not seen anybody come out with anything on camera yet, but we're told, yes, they are inside looking at documents. They will be leaving with boxes. I just have not personally seen anybody walk out with boxes, but we're told, yes, they are, and they may be looking at other sites connected to Ambassador Bolton. As far as any other people that may be targeted today, one senior official that I spoke to that has been briefed on this says it does not appear that that is so. It appears right now, and I want to always couch that it appears as of 8:03 in the morning that this is the only person that would be involved today, the only target involved today. So that's what we're looking at right now, guys.
So we know that you just mentioned that the FBI Director Kash Patel, 58 minutes ago, put out this: no one is above the law, FBI agents on a mission. And then Dan Bongino, the assistant FBI director, says 10 minutes later, public corruption will not be tolerated. That's interesting. And it's retweeting, it's building on Kash Patel's post.
It certainly is. And I will say that notably, and it might be a bit of a coincidence, and it's somewhat unrelated, probably very unrelated, but President Trump's, then former President Trump's home, when he was former president, Mar-a-Lago, was raided for classified documents. And that was a little bit more than 3 years ago. That was early August of 2022. And he was not home at the time. We're told Bolton was home today. But
home in his underwear. Okay, this is fair play. John Bolton has to say, yeah, this is not the politicization of government. We did this to Trump, or the Democrats did this to Trump, and now Trump did it to me. Normal. That's how he phrased it. We'll get back to more on Bolton back when Trump got his documents raided from his home. Here's Julie Kelly, the FBI and SWAT teams with armed agents and battering rams. They sent them to conduct early morning raids of hundreds of J6ers, including those accused of minor nonviolent offenses. That's back in 2021. This happened frequently while their families, including young children, were home. Agents using bullhorns would scream out the name of the J6er repeatedly to the entire neighborhood, and any reporters who had been tipped off could hear. And remember, CNN also had the vans at some of their houses ready because they were tipped off by the FBI to make sure to get good footage of it. The J6er was then arrested and hauled off in front of his family and neighbors. Bolton, who reportedly was not home during the search, got off lucky compared to most. So this is why I think Bolton's actually guilty. Unlike the J6ers who were not guilty, or Trump who was not guilty. They had cameras outside of Trump's house because that was all for politics and show. They just wanted to show you the cameras who were there. Before the FBI got into Mar-a-Lago, the CNN cameras were there, so they were tipped off. This is not for show. Bolton is they're actually going after him because he's guilty, and I don't believe you'd have Dan Bongino and Kash Patel and Pam Bondi making those kind of public statements unless they knew they had something on them. So this is not a random witch hunt. They're on to something pretty significant. 3 years ago, John Bolton raced to a TV studio to criticize President Trump over his classified documents. This is why I'm so mean about or so calm about John Bolton getting nailed. He has it coming. Listen to this.
Given moment. But I don't think he cared about the classification system. I don't think he appreciated the sensitivity of this information, and he didn't appreciate the sensitivity of how it was often acquired, the so-called sources and methods. So
I think Trump should go on MSNBC and repeat this exact dialogue, but be talking about Bolton. I think he should go right back and say all this. He didn't appreciate the methods. He didn't, it'd be great.
Oh, this had been briefed to him before I arrived. It was repeated frequently. I think it simply had no impact on him whatever.
There's a couple of different ways that people think about this, and people who are not friendly to the president who think about what's happened here. And one of them is, Donald Trump, master thief, criminal, running some kind of elaborate conspiracy to bring things out of the White House and keep them secret for potentially for political or financial gain.
Are they going to accuse Bolton of this? Bolton's even a Republican. Wouldn't MSNBC say the same thing, going, do you think Bolton pulled those documents out to make a lot of money or to hide something about himself?
Other people who his attitude is Trump is chaotic. He's careless. He's not.
Bolton's chaotic. Bolton's careless.
Not that smart. He took these things almost by mistake, and now he's basically stamping his feet and saying they're mine. I don't want to give them up. Give me a sense of where you think the truth lies with respect to Trump's intelligence, carelessness, and the degree to which he might have brought motive to bear on taking these documents out of the White House and keeping them for this long at Mar-a-Lago.
Well, it's very hard to speculate on motive other than that he liked cool things. He saw things so he wanted to take them, and he was pretty much able to take them and not just on classified information matters, on all kinds of things that crossed his desk. Some days he liked to eat a lot of French fries. Some days he took classified documents. He wanted them. Why did he want them? Because he could get them.
Why did Bolton want them? Because he could get them. Sometimes he eats French fries. Sometimes he just casually steals documents he doesn't have a right to. That's a very interesting point. Here's more from John Solomon over at Just in the News. FBI agents raid former National Security Advisor John Bolton's home. FBI agents early Friday raided the suburban Maryland home of former National Security Advisor John Bolton as part of an investigation into a national security matter. This is a national security matter. FBI Director Kash Patel, they're going into the quotes again. That's all that we have. Bolton was one of several national security advisors for Trump, but was eventually fired and became a critic of the current president and Patel's nomination as FBI director. The Justice Department sued Bolton in 2020 over his memoir, The Room Where It Happened, alleging he breached his contract by failing to conduct a pre-publication check for classified information. Eventually, the department opened a criminal investigation into whether Bolton had disclosed such information in the memoir. So that might give a little bit more of that's speculation, but that could be the reason for this. The Biden Justice Department closed that investigation in 2020 is a complete vindication. Bolton told Axios, they're just giving up. That's what he claimed about them stopping that investigation. The Bidens did. He claimed that they were giving up. The federal judge allowed Bolton to move forward with publishing the book, but ruled that he likely published classified materials and exposed his country to harm and himself to civil and potential criminal liabilities. Early this year, Trump pulled Bolton's security clearance, over the book, and that was drawing objections from senators like Tom Cotton. Bolton eerily predicted he might face action from Patel's FBI. Quote, I think the central characteristic of Trump seems to be looking for in all of the appointees we've seen so far is fealty to him. He told the Christian Science Monitor in January, a lot of people say it's loyalty. Loyalty is a virtue. There's a good thing, but that's not what Trump wants. He wants fealty to him. Well, how do you fealty about this one, John Bolton? I hope you go, I hope they perp walk you. I hope you get arrested. I hope you get caught. I hope justice is done to you. And whatever you thought of Trump, I hope that's the reason they give for you keeping documents. Some days you have a cheeseburger and fries, and some days you steal and profit off of classified documents in your book. I'm Doug in Exile.